Welcome to the video. My name's Quinn, and my hobby, for those of you who don't know, is setting up dominoes in a row. I started building dominoes when I was really young, I think 4, 5. But I always had people ask me, as my projects got bigger, how can you find it satisfying to spend so long on something that falls over so quickly? And, well, the truth is, I didn't think about it. Right when I started building, I very quickly just accepted these are the rules of the game and, well, deal with it. That this was just something inherent in the hobby, and I accepted that, and I never really thought about it. Until, actually, pretty recently. Sometime last year, I did start thinking about it. And I realized it's really intriguing. So I thought, okay, how far can I go with this aspect of it? I wonder if I could make a project with all 12,000 of my good dominoes that fell over in, I don't know, 10 seconds. It was probably a stupid idea, but it was a stupid idea that I immediately decided I would go with. So here's the story of how that happened. It was an idea completely different from any I had thought of before. In the past, I often tried to make my projects look showier, more intricate, last longer. This project, for instance, made up of 12,600 dominoes, only 600 more than I would be attempting, took a full 2.5 minutes to fall over. I was striving to do something completely opposed to what I had done in the past. I could, of course, accomplish my goal by just making a very big tower. This would certainly fall over in under 10 seconds, but it felt somehow contrary to the nature of my idea. I wanted the project to fall over more subtly. In that case, it was obvious that I would build many lines of dominoes standing next to each other. This is something called a domino field. I decided to use the sonimod technique instead of standing the dominoes upright like I normally do. The word sonimod is derived from the word dominoes, spelled backwards if you deny the existence of the letter E. It involves every domino being in contact with its neighbors, and falls over very quickly as a result. I thought about what shape the field would have to be to fall over the fastest, and I soon realized it would be an isosceles right triangle. I did some typically good quality math calculations, and finally came up with some actually useful numbers. The first row of my field would contain only one domino, the second row 2 dominoes, the third 3, and so on, all the way up to 150. The entire field, not including the triggering mechanism, would contain 11,325 dominoes. I timed a line of dominoes the length of the triggering mechanism, and found that it fell over well inside of 10 seconds. Finally, after a couple more tests, the design was complete. To build my project, I would need an 18 by 36 square foot area. So, where can you find a 648 square foot space that is available, completely uninterrupted, for 3 days? Well, clearly my basement wasn't going to work, so I asked my parents if they could look for a place to rent as sort of a bizarre birthday gift. Please, Mom and Dad, find somewhere with hard flooring where I can kneel on it for 3 days. That's what I want. They did find a place. There was only one place available where I live, and it was the Fort Collins Masonic Temple. I had no idea that this place even existed beforehand, let alone what the heck they did there, but it turned out to be perfect. Because not only were they all actually really lovely people, but also there was a room in the basement that was used for a dance class. It was huge, it was wooden floors, and it was available for 3 days. I downloaded some podcasts to listen to, so I didn't feel quite so isolated while working, and I got set to go. for it. And... hello everybody! Here's my project, and it is now completed. I'll give you a quick tour of the project. Over here is some sonimod, and this concludes the tour of the project. So, I would be closer to this to give you the tour, extensive as it is, but there's this sort of tape perimeter that I've made, and now that I don't have to cross the tape lines, I've decided that I shan't. Shan't? Is that? Okay. And now, really quickly, if I may show you what has been keeping me up at night, but not literally, I've actually slept very well, but metaphorically it's been keeping me up at night. The charming thing about sonimod is that you can't leave safety gaps. Normally, you leave gaps periodically, so if you accidentally knock something over, why are you holding the camera tilted? When this is done, you're fired. I'm not paying you to begin with, but you're fired. Why are you shooting my legs?
Stand here.
Why are you shooting my legs? This is...
You're standing where it says do not stand here.
I built it! I can do this! I just said I wouldn't, but I'm a hypocrite! That's my thing!
Apparently.
The charming thing about sonimod is you can't leave safety gaps. Which is why, if I were to nudge either of those two dominoes, all gone. So yeah, I try not to think about that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed seeing us argue pointlessly. Ta-ta for now. So, let's get ready. 11, 7, 4, 3, 1, 2. Cool. I've always loved setting up dominoes, and I think this project made me love it even a little bit more. Because it wasn't about the numbers, and the numbers were very good. I made my goal, and over 1,400 dominoes per second fell over. But it was about the conveyance of an idea successfully to a group of people that I really liked. And that's just one of the coolest things that I think you can do. I was extremely happy with it. As usual, my hands started shaking as it fell over. My hands never shake while I build, but they always start shaking when it falls over. And they did certainly this time as well, but it was such a cathartic thing, and I'm so happy with the way it looked. And the experience on the whole was actually a lot happier and a lot more social than I was expecting it to be. So instead of just having a credit segment, I'd like to just go through and verbally thank people, I think. So thanks, of course, to Gary for renting us the room very generously. Thanks also to Wild Rose, I forget her last name, for letting us in a few days and going out of her way to do so, and also for being a generally awesome person. And thanks also to Maxwell Hughes for letting us in, and for letting me use his fantastic music. I think that is about it. Thanks also to my dad and my mom for being supportive of my ridiculous hobby. And I think that about concludes the video. I had a wonderful time, and I hope you enjoyed watching this. See you later.